Hi everybody, it's Honest John again. When Scott Walker started in office, his state had a surplus. If he had done nothing, Wisconsin would have ended the year with a surplus, which they could have used to pay down their debt and maybe do some things. Instead, he gave away that surplus and more to his rich friends, and then decided to make up for it by taking it away from state workers. And at the same time, he decided to go after their union rights. Well, he's now being recalled, but he's got a lot of funding from the Koch brothers and other conservative groups across the nation, and it's going to be a fairly close race. Now, Walker said that his tax breaks for the rich would create jobs. But under Walker, Wisconsin leads the nation in job losses. And while unemployment has declined slightly in the rest of the country, in Wisconsin it rose from 7.1% to 7.7%. That's Scott Walker's record. So all those tax cuts, all they did was make Scott Walker's fat cat friends a little fatter. And yet Walker still has his supporters. And it's not hard to get people all stirred up by anti-union sentiment. And look, I'll be the first one to say unions aren't perfect. But a worker without one is a lonely person. That worker has no power at all. Now here is what Scott Walker and the Republicans detest, despise, and hate about unions. They make a decent wage. Union workers make a decent wage, generally. They don't get into the 1%, they don't get into the top 10 or 20%, but a lot of times they're down in the lower part of the top 50%. They have decent health care plans, so when they get sick, they get taken care of without being completely bankrupted. In most cases, in some cases, they do. And a lot of unions workers have a pension plan. Now, it's not enough that they're going to be able to live on it when they retire, but if they save money and develop a couple of other income streams, it'll come in real handy. Now, I understand why the rich don't like that. If you pay the workers a decent wage, the CEO might get only 19 million instead of 22 million. But there are people who look at these teachers and nurses and cops and firemen and say they're getting too much. They should be struggling to survive. And they want to take away the things that they have. Now, what smart people are doing is they're looking at those workers and they're saying, you know what? That's the least everybody should have. Everybody should have what they have. Everybody who works should have a decent wage. Everybody who works should have health coverage. And there's nothing wrong with having a pension plan. We're all going to get old. We're all going to need money when we get old. So, instead of trying to take away the little that the working men have to give to the 1%, what people should be thinking is, hey, let's get everybody up there. And maybe a little further. Because the thing that makes this country great, or made this country great, was that we had a large, prosperous middle class that was able to have a home and put their children through college and have things. Now, there's a whole lot of people who are working and they're just barely getting by. They can't put away money for their kids' college. Even with both spouses working, it's hard to make ends meet. And that's because as CEO wages have skyrocketed, workers' wages have stagnated. And that's not a coincidence. That's a result of the workers having no voice. So, as our workers, as our middle class shrinks, America shrinks. As our workers have less and less, America becomes a little less great. Thanks for listening.